Hi, my name is Jayoza. I coach people so they can deliver good to great performance when they're speaking every time. I want to talk about informative speech. I used to think this speech was easy, but now I think this is a very tricky speech because I don't think people who give it understand what they're really trying to achieve. Before I go into this one, there are really four common speeches that we use. The introductory speech is when you introduce yourself to somebody. That's a speech, and it's probably one of the most important speeches we give. Second one is an impromptu. This is sort of like off the cuff, where somebody asks you a question and you give them the answer about a particular thing in typically less than 3 minutes. Then there's this informative speech where we're trying to inform something that we know that we think the audience needs to know. And the fourth one is the persuasive speech where we're trying to get the audience to spread the word or take action. Okay, so those are the four speeches, but I'm going to focus on the informative speech because I believe this is a tricky speech, and unless you know this, you're going to not achieve your objective. Okay, so what is the objective of an informative speech? You would probably say to inform. Actually, it's not. I know this is going to be a little, I'm going to have to spend some time explaining this. The purpose of an informative speech really is to sell. You are selling something, whether it's an idea, could be, if it's a sales call, could be a product, or it could be something more information. So you have to be careful with this speech because you don't want to just dump information. Information is kind of what you have. If you don't give them enough information, then the speech becomes entertainment practically, if you were entertaining. And if you were giving too much information, then it becomes useless because you just gave too much and the audience can't process it and they don't know what's important. So your job is to sell information that's important. So let me just give you an example using myself. So let's suppose I was asked to give a talk on public speaking. Now, that can happen soon because I'm currently working on a book, and people say, Jake, we heard you wrote a book. Can you come in and give a talk on how we can become, good to great public speaker? Now I would be so excited. I would think like, wow, I'm just going to give them everything I know. But that would be a big, big mistake. Whenever you give a talk, you are really selling so that people who are interested can get more information. And those people could be very few. Okay, very few. Suppose there are 100 people. I doubt less than 10 are ever going to really go to the next step. So your job is to inform in a way that would give them more information if they're interested. So in my case, I would talk about how they can develop their skills. That's what the book contains. First, explain them what speaking is and why it's so complicated, what they can do to develop the skills, and what they can do to give a speech if they're asked, if there's a need for them to give a speech, and how to do all that. And I could give them quite a bit of information, but in an entertaining way, but not too much, because if too much information, I don't know whether they value it. Information has to be valued. You just cannot just give information. So you want to give it the information in an entertaining way that keeps their attention, but gives them some point at the end to get more information. That's what you really want. You're selling your information so that they want more information. Now, I want to be really careful here because what you're really kind of doing here is upselling. But upselling has this negative connotation that you're somehow sleazy and you're hard selling and you're trying to rip people off. That's not the intention of this. What I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to tell you is that your information has to have a value. If your information has no value, then you shouldn't be giving that information. So you have to determine what the value of your information is. Like I said, if you give nothing, there is no value. If you give too much, there is no value. So you need to calibrate what is the right amount of information you give, and then determine how many of those people really interested that they want more. So there has to be something else that you can point them to. If not, then you will know quickly whether your information was provided in a right way or whether you sold it well. Because you need a validation whether your information had any value. So for example, if I'm giving a talk on public speaking, I would want people, let's say if I had 100 books or so called, I don't know whether I had 100 books or that I have with me, I can say, listen, if this is something you like, you can get more information from my book. So that means I have to sell the information where they would want to purchase the book. Now my intention is not necessarily to purchase the book, but I should have the book there. Because if I don't have the book there, then I just essentially wasted a lot of time, people's time. People make decisions quickly. And if I sold the speech or my methodology really well, there are going to be at least several people in the audience who would say, you know what, I like what you have to say, I want to know more, I'm going to buy your book. Okay? From the book, if they like it, but they now want to go deeper into it, there should be something else to come after that. Could be like an online course. Now again, not hard selling, but these are the people who want to be able to get to the next step. So, and then from an online course, if they don't get, there should be something else after that. Could be more of an instructor-led course, and then beyond that could be one-on-one coaching. So as you can see, it is upselling, and it's not upselling viewed in a negative way. It's upselling to add value, okay? Because sometimes people think of upselling as like, oh, you're just trying to rip people off. I don't think that is the case, because information that has no value is worthless. What you want to know is, what you want to do is try to figure out what value does the audience have for the information that you're providing. So your initial speech has to be somewhat entertaining, with limited amount of content. It can't be content rich. Content rich has to come based on what their specific needs are. And one of the mistakes that people always make with informative speeches is that they just give out too much information. And when you give out too much information, people get confused and they don't process anything. So here's what I would want you to do. Next time when you are giving an informative speech, do not fall into the trap that you have to go and inform the hell out of a topic. No, you need to identify the most important thing that they need to know, the audience needs to know, and sell them on that. Sell them why they need to know that. What is the importance behind knowing this information? And then if there's more information, you should be able to point them towards whether it's a white paper, whether it's an ebook, whatever. There has to be something else that they can go to that is well packaged, and it's something that says, hey, if you want to know more on how to go into each of these things in more detail, that shows you step by step, here's what I recommend you go do. In my case, I would recommend them, they go and purchase my book. That's where they would get more information, because I don't have the time. If they give me 30 minutes to go into the gory details on how to become a good to great speaker, it's just impractical. And if I started squeezing everything in that 30 minutes, my speech would be absolutely useless. People can't process it. So, let me close this out. Think about this. Next time when you are giving an informative speech, sell the speech you're giving so that they would want to get more information. And that more information, you definitely can charge for it, because that is adding more value. And these people who are going there have already confirmed it, that they want to know. So you're not ripping them off. A lot of people really have a problem with this. But I think you have to do it, because otherwise you're putting no value in the information that you're providing, and you got to show value, and you got to extract value. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.